Welcome to the Piece by Piece Autism Podcast with your hosts, Angie and Christy. They've worked 25 years to help Alec get the most out of life. Let them tell you how they're doing it.
Welcome back. Today we're talking about the second part of building your team. We're going to first mention a couple of things that have been going on before we get started with the details of that. First, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our weekend.
Yes. You had Alec in Dallas?
Yep, we had Alec back in Dallas, and I got a little panicked because I was flying with him by myself. And I hadn't done that in a while, but he's gotten so chill on an airplane that it worked out great. The weekend went great. He was so happy to see the family members, the little nieces and nephews who sometimes bug him, but he was enjoying them. Everything was going great until about 4:20 in the morning, the second day he was there. And he had a little accident. But the great news was he made it to the bathroom.
Woohoo!
So that was a big win. That was a huge win within this horribly traumatic thing to happen at 4:20.
Oh, just what you want to wake up to.
Yeah. And there was like, a couple of hours of cleanup involved. But the good news was the mess was all contained in the bathroom. So
Yes.
I was thrilled to death. I was thrilled to death. And so I just high-fived him and said, great job. Here's the other thing that happened that was great. I think I told you about this, Angie, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think I did. That I rushed into him when I heard him awake on the monitor. And I found him halfway in the shower, halfway out of the shower, but standing there kind of looking at me like, what do I do next? And I said, oh my goodness, I forgot to put my glasses on. I forgot to get my phone in case I needed any help. I forgot to put my hair up so that I could be better equipped to clean the mess up because I didn't know what I was walking into.
Right.
And so I said to him, just stand there. And he looked at me and I locked eyes with him and I said, just stand there. Just wait. I ran as fast as I could and I changed my clothes, put my glasses on, got my phone, put my hair in a clip, ran back in, and guess what? He's standing
was
in
still
that
waiting.
same spot. I was so happy. So waiting, it works.
Yay.
So anyway, we got it cleaned up. It reminded us of autism is a thing where you go 5 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
And he had a great weekend. And then we had that one little thing. So it was nice. I mean, we had a few other things, some loud
Yeah.
noises when he was a little frustrated, but we didn't, for the most part, we had a great weekend. So,
Good.
anyway,
Good. I'm
good.
glad he was able to come back and
Yeah.
be with the family. I know those things mean a lot to him.
Yeah. Yeah. He
And
liked being a part of the birthday celebration that we had. And
yeah,
it was good.
we love the opportunities for him to practice the flying and staying up to date on all of the routine of what the
Yeah.
airport means
Yeah.
and luggage and all that good stuff.
Anyway, that was that.
How fun. Awesome. All right. Before we get into the bulk of our episode today, I just wanted to give a brief reminder from our part 1 episode. So if you've not listened to part 1 of building your team, go back and find that episode. In there, we talk about the 6 topics to look for in an individual when hiring someone to work with your child. Now that you have hired someone, in this episode, we're going to talk about what's next. What are our next steps in building our team for Alec? And what are some questions that you may want to consider in building your team for your child?
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
I wanted to just point out, we've had this little debate where we're saying, we're calling your child your child. My child is 27. Your child may be 3. There are children. We don't know. We don't always want to say child or adult,
Right.
child or teen. So we're just calling your child, assuming that your child could be 40. Your child could be 10.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to clarify.
Yes. So once we have hired for our team, We met with them, the interview went well. We have set up what we call a meet and greet. This is completely separate from Christy or myself, and it allows Alec to meet this individual. Alec, of course, is with one of our team members, and so that team member is leading this meet and greet. And it usually lasts 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes they stick around and want to play and hang out and it goes long. And sometimes people get in and are kind of unsure of how to interact and it doesn't last too long, and that's okay. But this gives us a good peek into how they interact with Alec, how they interact with our team member. They can ask questions to our team member without us present. Maybe, what does this job look like? Or how long have you been working with Alec? Or what does a pay raise look like? Those kinds of questions that maybe they didn't feel as comfortable asking us because our team members would be closer to a peer in age to them. But I always suggest that during the meet and greet, our team member that's leading this would show and demonstrate how Alec communicates. He communicates using a keyboard. So to do something where they can show the communication aspect, and then to play a game, to have an opportunity for Alec to ask this individual some questions, and for, the potential new hire to ask questions back. And the other part of it is to give a quick tour of Alec's home. We like to do this in Alec's house, in his domain where he's comfortable, and they can then get a preview of the house to demonstrate how he works through his schedule, his routines, his bathroom. He's got a whole morning routine and brushing his teeth and combing his hair, and his dresser is set up to get dressed independently, and those kinds of things are demonstrated and shown to somebody who could potentially join our team. So it's a great way for us to get feedback from Alec and from the team member without us giving any instruction. A lot of times we'll just say, hey, we've interviewed, they're coming to do a meet and greet, let us know what you think. And then we can have that follow up with our team member and with Alec afterwards. So.
Okay. Well, then we have the follow up afterwards, as you mentioned, and that's where we're going to just check in with everybody. We're going to ask Alec, we're going to ask the team member who was running it, and then we're going to talk to the new hire and ask them what they thought about it. One thing I want to mention here is that our team member has been with us for a while, usually the one that is assigned to do the meet and greet, and that person, we're going to trust their judgment, and we're going to really listen to them. We had a situation where we were kind of iffy on a guy, but he came to the meet and greet and he wasn't there more than probably 2 minutes. And the man who was working with Alec, who was leading, said, when we called him and checked and said, what did you think? And he said, absolutely not, or something like that. He was very...
And we had given no backstory or we're kind of on the fence about this guy. We gave nothing.
Yeah. We gave him no information because we didn't want to bias him at all. And we wanted to give that guy a chance if he could possibly work, because we really needed a new team member. And we love it when guys join the team, because Alec loves it when guys join the team. He loves girls too, but he really likes when some guys are on the team. And I want to reiterate at this point, I think we mentioned in the first part that we have a probationary period. So that's our third kind of, we've got several layers of checking our work here as we hire. And that's one of our checkpoints, is to remind the person, the new hire, we're having a probationary period. And the probationary period falls during the training period. So it's anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Correct?
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks. And we find out, is that going to work for the new team member? Is the person going to work with us? Is Alec resistant? Is Alec accepting of the person coming on? Is the person perpetually late? Is the person not meshing with the team? in some way. The team is very important. They work together a lot. They do overlaps with each other. They do social things together. We have quite a few, I mean, depending on the season, October's very heavy with our parties where they
Party
all
time.
show up. They may all get matching costumes for Halloween. We've done some fun stuff like that. Do they take direction and feedback? We had in the last couple of years, we've had a person that came on and she really was not willing to take feedback. And that was a struggle. And we didn't realize that till we were well into the training because we
Right.
thought, oh, this person presented a certain way in the interview, but then is showing us a different side of herself once she started working with Alec. And so it was good to be able to get through that and be able to find out if a person is willing to be trained or not. And in this business, I think more than a lot of businesses, it's that feedback component that's like super important.
It's crucial.
Can you receive feedback? And can you act upon it once you receive it? And you can't get your feelings hurt. We've had people in the past that do get their feelings hurt if they get feedback from other team members or from management. And I'm calling us management. I mean, we're running this home program, but we're management, I guess. So there you go. And then we go on to the more nuts and bolts, the intake forms.
Yes. So once we've all agreed that this is going to be a good thing moving forward, everybody's on the same page, they understand expectations, then we say, great, welcome to the team. And I send out an email with all of our intake forms. This includes some of the basics like a W-4. We've got to get bank information so that we can get them set up for payment. We need a driver's license so they can be added to our insurance. And again, not all of these things are going to be applicable to each of you in your scenario, but these are things that we've had to really think through and work through for Alec and the business side of things of his life. We need their address. We need an emergency contact. This was one that we recently added because we had a very reliable team member not show up for a shift, and it panicked us. Alec was covered. He was taken care of. We were clear on that end, but we were concerned for this team member that we care for so much. And we just thought, oh my goodness, if this happens, we had nobody to contact to say,
are you dead in a ditch?
Yeah. Are you okay? What's going on? And luckily it was just a simple lapse of setting an alarm and sleeping through the beginning of their shift. It was no big deal, and it was not a regular occurrence, but it just raised that flag to say, hey, maybe we need to add this to our intake form.
We're always learning.
We've done that. We are always learning. The other fun aspects to our intake form are their Venmo account, as Christy's very good at sending little surprise Venmos, or our team monthly challenges that we do allow them to earn a little extra buck here and there. Their shirt size, we have had shirts made for the team and done activities where everybody comes in their shirts. Who doesn't love a fun t-shirt? So that's a perk, is joining the team. Their So Delicious order in Utah, if you do not know, you will quickly upon arrival that the soda shops are on every corner, and we want to know their order, if they want to drink morning, afternoon, evening. These things are important because we, of course, would love a drink morning, afternoon, and evening. Am I right?
You are correct. We've have one right here by my side at the moment.
We've only had a couple who say they don't drink soda, and
hey, they save us some money. We like that.
I guess. But
then we also wonder about them just a little bit.
I know. And then
your thing may be coffee. We don't judge.
No.
We don't judge. Whatever you want.
And then a preference assessment. How do they like to be rewarded? Do they like to be rewarded individually or as a team? And in what way do they want to be rewarded? Is that from a meal? Is it a gift card? Is it cash, etc.? So we like to kind of be able to assess what they would like to be rewarded with and give that to them as they achieve and do. And then the biggest component of our intake form, an important one that we try to not get too weighted down on, but in order to have some boundaries and set expectations, is our policies and procedures. So this form is given to them, they agree and sign it. And an example of a policy or procedure for our current team is that we have monthly meetings. These are to be scheduled in advance and they are mandatory. You are to be in person for these meetings. If you are unable to be in person, you've got to request prior approval to join online. And we've accommodated that at times, but just so that they know up front, this is an important aspect of the team. We like to get together. It's a nice way to discuss and go over things. And
Sometimes we role play and can't really do that by Zoom. That's
yes,
harder to do by Zoom.
yeah, it's hard. And because our team is coming and going at different times, they maybe see one person as they pass the baton, so to speak, but it's really once a month is everybody together to say, hey, are you seeing this? And hey, you're catching on to this? Or is this happening with you? And they love to get together and discuss those things. But we ran into an issue where people were kind of slacking and not showing up or thinking that the online option was always an option. And so we've really had to buckle down and set those boundaries and expectations for that.
Yeah, you have to
Christy,
have it. You have to have it for the consistency.
for sure.
The
For sure.
consistency. And then I was remembering back whenever Alec was younger, when he started his home program at 2.5, we would do them weekly. And it was a
Yeah.
requirement. And we had to drive really far to get to the office of our consultant to be able to have those meetings. But they were so important for him to generalize and to be able to just get everybody on the same page and to move the skill along. So the
Frequent
acquisition,
check-ins.
just, sometimes he's acquiring new skills now at his age. He's still acquiring new skills. And so that's super important.
For sure. Another example of a policy you had with Alec Young was setting some boundaries for team members coming into your home.
Yeah.
So obviously they're showing up to do their job. And like we discussed in part 1 of this, you want them to feel comfortable and be a part of your family, so to speak, as they are interacting with you and your spouse and your other children.
Right.
But what were some of those boundaries that you put in place?
We just said we made the same policy here in Utah for him in his group home setup. But we have a policy that when you're coming on for your shift, please just walk in the door and make yourself at home and start your shift. We can't just have you walking in the door when it's not your shift, because then
Right.
that's very alarming to have someone just walk in your house. So we set that boundary where walk in the house, the door will be open. We know you're coming, but don't come and just walk in the door. If you're coming to visit or you're coming to do anything extra, or you're here way early for your shift because you want to study for a little while before you start. We've had some people do that here in Utah. And if they do that, they have to come to the front door and ring the doorbell and be a house guest. You turn into
Right.
a house guest at that point. And it just kept that boundary because you feel like your house has got a revolving door on it once you start a home program. I've found it extremely hard to get used to, and having just feeling like all of your privacy is gone because your home turns into this training ground for your child. And you've got your other children, you've got your spouse or partner, whoever, and you've got to learn how to make those boundaries work.
Yes, good examples of some of our policies and procedures. We just make sure those are very clear at the start, up front. And then the last thing I ask for in our intake forms is a few time options, because I like to meet for some online training prior to setting up overlap with Alec and a team member to start training with them at his home.
And I'm
during
gonna
this-
I'm gonna glaze you a little bit here.
Okay.
Your training is fabulous, and I cannot wait until we get to the episode where we're going to talk
Oh,
about your training,
well,
because
thank you.
this is one of your biggest strengths, and you have just gotten training down to such a science and just
We've
every detail. Anyway,
we've been able to tailor it, and like you mentioned, we learn a little bit more every time we hire somebody. I'm
yes,
tweaking every document I send. I'm tweaking every PowerPoint presentation that I share. There's a little bit of change and tweak every time. And not only for our training, but also because Alec is evolving and I've got to go in and
yes,
say, okay,
always
here's some
learning.
updates on medication, or here's some updates on routine and schedule and all of these things that we like to discuss. So I just like to utilize this time to answer some basic questions and to give a little bit of background and education on some of the basics of ABA, because Alec doesn't need to be present for those. Typically, it's like 2 1-hour sessions, but he doesn't need to be present for those things. But it gives them a bit of a leg up when they do go in to meet with Alec and the team member to say, hey, I know Alec takes medications at these times. Can you show me where those are and how this works? So they've got a little bit of expectation. Or Alec carries a backpack and it's always to be packed with these things. I'm aware of that. And can you now show me what that looks like? And they can kind of
Well,
put
I
what we've
think
discussed
that was
into,
partially born out of the whole one thing that we got out of the kind of the COVID stay-at-home period
yes,
is how can we start training? Because so many people were quarantined during the time we were trying to train people, and we were saying, well, wait a second, could we do any of our training online?
yes. And
So
can it be consistent across the board?
yeah,
Because every time we send somebody in to be trained with Alec and a team member, that team member does not work off of a script. And
yes,
so we found that there were some holes and some gaps that it was like, wait, how did this not get relayed to our new hire?
yes.
So we've taken some of those basic important things and do that now online. But we'll
We'll
definitely
step on that
do a
later. Yeah,
big dive into training
yeah.
on another episode for sure. So those are our intake forms. Some very basic, some
Mm.
for fun, some out of necessity, but that's just kind of our launch board for getting them officially on the team.
Next, we're going to talk about our expectations for our new hire as far as like pairing. Pairing is an old ABA word. It means that you're placing yourself, you're trying to establish yourself as a reinforcer. And it's really important, building rapport and developing a relationship with Alec so that you can build instructional control so you can get him to do things that you want him to do. I was super happy to dust off my instructional control this past weekend, as I said, like saying to him, holding my hand up, pulling that out of my tool belt, wait,
Yes.
and knowing that that meant something to him and that he knew that I had done it many, many times over these decades, to say, when I hold my hand up and I say, wait, stand right there, that he knows I better stand right here because something, she needs
Yeah.
me to do this
Mom's
for some
telling me.
reason.
Yeah.
Mom's telling me. And she has been my teacher and my mom. So building that instructional controls super important. And that's going to be done by he loves to play games. Alec loves to play games. If that person sits down with him and plays a game, that's going to build some rapport. If that person takes him to a restaurant, he loves restaurants. If the person takes him for a walk. So that person is just pairing themselves with things that he loves. Jumping on the trampoline with him. We had a guy come and interview with him, and then he ended up on the trampoline with him and doing this really cute back and forth play with him. And Alec was
Yes.
making exuberant sounds and got a little overstimulated after play, but it was so cool to watch, like a brand new person go in and just establish himself as a reinforcer and jumping on the trampoline.
And
I'm just doing
waiting
something
for
fun.
Alec to engage. And I think Alec feels how authentic people, when they come in and show an interest
Yes.
and they are genuine, whether it's, like you said, playing a game or going out to eat or taking him on a walk, are they talking to him like he's the intelligent individual that he is? Or are they talking about him to the team member as if Alec
Yeah.
is not in the room. Those little things matter and I think build that trust and rapport that we look for in a team member. And I know Alec cares
Yeah.
about in his team.
That reminds me of a dear team member that we've had who recently went off to medical school, but he came in for his interview, and I've never had anyone do this. He came in and he really just looked at Alec during the interview. It was a meet and greet. It was a meet and greet, but I happened to be there for a little part of it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember why I was there because I shouldn't be at a meet and greet. Okay, why was I there? No, doesn't matter. So
That's
I'm
okay.
sitting there and he just only looked at Alec when he was talking. And I just loved it, even though it felt a little like he was saying, "Who are you?" To me. He was kind of like brushing me aside, but I didn't mind it because he was there to focus on Alec.
Yes.
And the simple act of doing that just built so much trust with Alec for this man. And they ended up being quite good friends. And Alec took good direction from him. And they had some really special times before he went away. He graduated and went away. But that reminded me of that one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that rapport started right there in the very beginning.
Yeah,
So,
definitely crucial. The last bit of expectations that we set for our new hire is the time frame of training. We are not allowing these new hires, once they've met Alec, to just jump in and work solo shifts with him. So we, based on their availability, will schedule them for shifts. And once they have completed my training checklist, which takes approximately 4 to 6 weeks of overlap, then they will jump into a full-time team member out of our probationary period and into full team standing. And that rapport has been built at that point. Expectations have been met. Alec is communicating and doing all the things that need to be done in order for us to really know and trust that they can spend that one-on-one time with Alec successfully.
I just wanted to mention that it sounds really expensive, this overlap, because you're paying a team member plus you're paying the person training. And what we found is we offer a training rate, which is much lower than their regular hourly rate during the time that they're training.
Yes. And
Just
that,
because they can't work on their own. They have to work with someone. So that really raises our rate. So we've got to lower their rate because they're really not equipped. We're doing on-the-job training. We're paying them a lower rate. And the minute they come out of the training, we're paying them this higher rate.
the full starting rate for sure. And they're aware of that. And again, that's why part of our training period is approximate. It's very much self-paced. We've had individuals come in, have a ton of available time. They're training morning, afternoon, evening across different individuals throughout the week, and their schedule allows them to get through training quickly. We've had other people who have really had limited availability and it's taken a lot longer, but they know up front that this is their training rate, and once these expectations have been met, then they go into full team member standing with our beginning rate. The last bit we want to get to is talking about our team dynamic. We've mentioned before that our team really enjoys getting together. Our mandatory monthly team meetings are more like a hangout and
Yeah.
small little party. We have a great time together, and we want to make sure that in hiring, we're looking for personalities that will mesh and meld with those that are currently on our team. Not only do we want our personalities of our team to mesh, but we also love to see how different people bring different aspects to Alec's day. And I think he really enjoys knowing that he's got one girl in the morning that loves to take him out and go for hikes and walks. And then he knows that one of his other guys is coming in the afternoon and they're going to go grab lunch and go kick a ball and play soccer for a little bit. And he gets to know them and knows their likes and dislikes and how they interact. And it just brings a fun vibe to the house that
Yes.
he gets to look forward to all these different individuals coming in. As from a management standpoint, this is both a blessing and a curse, wouldn't you say?
Yes,
Uh,
because they're
some
all
are
so individual.
They
Is
are
that what you
so
mean?
individual. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Some are more exact in programming. Some are really good at filling out and completing their data. Some are
yes.
so into what they're doing with Alec that data is on the back burner and makes it difficult for me to see sometimes what's going on during the day.
And
So
some like to clean loofahs, and some don't like to
some
clean loofahs.
don't.
They just won't.
Yeah.
And
I
we
mean, that would
try
not
all
be at
we
the top.
can to get a loofah cleaned, but
Uh,
it just doesn't sometimes.
Yeah, some are more organized, and
Yes.
we try and really, as we get to know them, utilize their strengths. We've had past team members come back. We've got one currently who preps food for Alec and the team.
And she's a
And
vegetarian. And she's never cooked chicken, but she learned how to cook chicken, and she's very willing to do that, which is very touching to me because
yes,
I think a vegetarian, you shouldn't ask a vegetarian to do that.
I
But
walked in the other day as she was shredding a rotisserie chicken.
yes,
And I
yes.
said, "That's got to be like the worst thing for you." And she's like, "No, I don't mind. It's for Alec. She just loves him so much and would do anything,
Yeah, it's so
including
sweet of her to do that. It's so generous of her to do that. But she does love the job, and it's been great for her because now she's married and she has a baby, and it gives her some extra income. It's a nice
yeah,
job that she can have that she enjoys doing it. So,
yes,
and it keeps her connected to Alec,
yes, which
and
we love. She
she enjoys
knows
that. She gets to see him.
she knows how we run things. She knows how we operate, and she's been a team member, so she knows that vantage point as well.
And the great news
But
is she can step in and take over a shift if she needed to, if someone got sick, or
yes,
if we're having a really hard time filling, she can step in, and she's already had the training, so it's good.
yes. But just be aware of your team dynamic and personalities, how they shape the team, what they bring to the table, how you can utilize their likes and their dislikes and help them to support one another in those ways and to give the most round experiences to your child.
Yeah, and I think one more thing I just want to say before we end is that I think that you can get so caught up on having the trials of an autistic child. I mean, it's so wearing and so intense sometimes that I think it's hard to also think about the sensitivity you need to have about building a team.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to, you are running a small business, even though you're not building a product or selling a service. You are helping your child develop, and you're running a homeschool basically for your child that's very specialized. And I think that you have to consider how to care for these people who are your staff. And I think that we're getting better and better at that.
Yeah.
And I think, of course, having 25 years of it, I've really learned a lot. And I don't think that I was perfect at it very early on, but I think we've learned a lot, and
You've
we've
come to be
learned
an expert.
yeah, but not perfect at it because you're still working with individuals.
Yes. Yes.
So it's just something that we learn as we go, and we improve upon. And there's mistakes that we've made over the past 6 years of starting the house that, I wish I kind of regret, but you can't, you just keep moving forward and learn and let it evolve.
Just like Al's blips here and there, we have them too.
Yes,
5 steps
yes,
forward, 1 step back. We go,
yes,
wait, how did that happen?
yes. I don't
But
pretend to be perfect in that regard,
yeah,
and I'm grateful for people who will forgive whenever we make mistakes, and people that can help us learn how to be good managers.
for sure.
So,
Yeah, it's tricky sometimes knowing that these people rely on this as a job and they get to know Alec and love him, and emotions can be involved, but we
yes,
always, as you should, keep the goal in mind that whatever is best for your child is what needs to happen for his
Yes.
team.
Yes.
And that kind of keeps us grounded and is the root of how we answer and solve a lot of problems, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Exactly.
So well,
Exactly.
we are glad that you were able to join us for part 2. Again, if you did not get to listen to part 1 of Building Your Team, go back and listen to that as well, because those topics build on these different steps in hiring and getting going with those that you've brought on to help your child. We wish you the best in hiring and building your team. Thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to check us out on social media. If you want to contact us, send us a direct message on our Instagram or our Facebook page. You can find us at Piece by Piece, that's Piece, Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. Until next time, talk to you later.
Bye.